Daniel knew the sting of hardship. He carried the weight of a life lived on the edge, a tapestry woven with threads of both triumph and despair. His past was a landscape littered with the debris of addiction. Relationships, once vibrant and full of promise, had crumbled under the weight of his struggles. He bore the scars, both visible and hidden, of battles fought and lost. There was a time when darkness threatened to consume him entirely, a time when hope seemed like a distant memory, but somewhere deep within, a spark persisted. A flicker of determination refused to be extinguished, and slowly, painstakingly, Daniel began to rebuild. He found solace in a routine, in the simple act of putting one foot in front of the other. He sought support, finding strength in the outstretched hands of those who believed in his potential, even when he couldn't see it himself. The journey was arduous, a relentless climb, uphill, but Daniel persevered, clinging to the slimmest sliver of hope. He had known depths of despair that many couldn't fathom. He had also tasted the bittersweet victory of redemption. And yet, as he stood on the precipice of a new chapter, a nagging feeling lingered, a disquietude that whispered of unfinished business. The years had brought a semblance of peace. Daniel had built a life grounded in stability, a far cry from the chaos that once defined him. The storms had subsided, leaving in their wake a stillness that was both comforting and unsettling. He had confronted his demons and emerged battered but not broken. He had learned to navigate the treacherous waters of his past, to accept the man he had been and embrace the man he was becoming. There was a quiet strength in his eyes, a resilience forged in the fires of adversity. He had stared into the abyss and emerged not unscathed but whole. Yet amidst the newfound equilibrium, a profound sense of incompleteness lingered. His life, once a whirlwind of destruction, now felt strangely stagnant. He craved a purpose, a creative outlet that would allow him to give voice to the tumultuous journey that had brought him to this point. He yearned to leave his mark on the world, to create something meaningful, something lasting. This yearning, this quiet desperation, was a constant companion. It shadowed his days and haunted his nights. It was a reminder that true peace, true fulfillment, lay not in mere survival, but in embracing the potential that lay dormant within him. And so, Daniel found himself at a crossroads, poised on the edge of an uncertain future, searching for the key to unlock his best creation. The email arrived on a Tuesday, a digital whisper from a past life. The sender's name, Alex, sent a jolt of recognition through Daniel. Alex, his oldest friend, his partner in crime from their wilder days. Alex, who had somehow managed to channel their shared chaos into art, becoming a celebrated sculptor whose work now graced galleries worldwide. The message was short, almost hesitant. Alex was working on a new exhibition, a series of pieces exploring themes of redemption and transformation. He was inviting individuals from his past, people who had walked through fire and emerged scarred but not broken, to share their stories, stories that will be woven into the fabric of his art, giving voice to the resilience of the human spirit. Daniel stared at the screen, a wave of emotions washing over him. Hesitation was his initial instinct. The past held a certain allure, a dangerous beauty, but it was also a minefield of painful memories. Could he really unearth those buried emotions, expose his vulnerabilities for the world to see, yet something in Alex's request resonated deep within him. The idea of transforming his pain into something meaningful, something that could inspire others, held a strange appeal. Maybe, just maybe, this was the creative outlet he had been yearning for, a chance to finally confront his past and shape it into something beautiful. The invitation was a catalyst, stirring up memories that had been buried under layers of time and regret. Daniel found himself drawn back to the landscapes of his past, places where laughter and tears had mingled freely, where the seeds of both destruction and redemption had been sown. He revisited his childhood home, a modest bungalow where the echoes of his mother's laughter still seemed to linger in the air. He stood in the shadow of the old oak tree in the backyard, remembering long summer afternoons spent lost in play, oblivious to the complexities that lay ahead. It was a bittersweet homecoming, a poignant reminder of simpler times, of innocence lost and lessons learned. He walked the familiar streets of his old neighborhood, each corner holding a memory, a whisper of who he once was. There was the park where he had his first kiss, the basketball court where he had tasted the thrill of victory and the sting of defeat. Each place held a piece of him, fragment of the mosaic that was his life. As he retraced his steps, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched, observed by the ghosts of his past. He could almost hear their whispers, their laughter, and their tears. Constant reminder of the path he had traveled and the choices he had made. Accepting Alex's invitation was one thing. Embarking on the actual journey, both physical and emotional, was another entirely. The prospect of revisiting his past, of confronting the people he had hurt and those who had hurt him, filled him with a mixture of trepidation and a strange sense of anticipation. He knew he couldn't hide from his past any longer. It was time to face his demons, to make amends where he could, and to find a way to forgive himself for the mistakes he had made. He owed it to himself, and perhaps even to those he had wronged, to finally confront the truth of his story. With a deep breath and a heart full of apprehension, Daniel packed a bag and set off. He had no clear itinerary, no fixed destination in mind. His journey would be guided by instinct, by the whispers of his past, and the faint glimmer of hope that beckoned him forward. He knew the road ahead would be long and arduous, filled with unexpected detours and painful confrontations. But he also sensed that it was a journey he needed to take, a pilgrimage to the heart of his own story, a quest to uncover the masterpiece hidden within. The first stop on Daniel's journey was a small town nestled amidst rolling hills, a place frozen in time and memory. It was here he had sought refuge in his darkest hour, finding solace in the kindness of strangers. He had arrived broken and lost a shell of a man, haunted by his demons. He sought out Sarah, the woman who had taken him in, offering him a roof over his head and a listening ear without judgment. He remembered her gentle smile, the way she had seen past his rough exterior to the wounded soul within. He wondered if she would even recognize him after all these years. Their reunion was a tapestry of tears and laughter, a testament to the healing power of time in forgiveness. Sarah hadn't forgotten him. She'd followed his journey from afar, celebrating his victories and aching for his struggles. She welcomed him with open arms, her eyes reflecting a depth of compassion that brought him to his knees. He confessed his fears, his shame, his lingering guilt over the pain he had caused. He spoke of the people he had hurt, the trust he had broken, the bridges he had burned. And through it all, Sarah listened with unwavering patience, offering words of comfort and understanding that soothed his weary soul. From the tranquility of Sarah's farmhouse, Daniel ventured into the heart of his past, to a bustling city that held both cherished memories and bitter regrets. It was here he had experienced the intoxicating highs and devastating lows of a love that had consumed him entirely. He had loved fiercely and recklessly, leaving a trail of broken promises in his wake. He had tried to forget her, to erase the memory of their love from his mind, but some wounds run too deep to ever truly heal. He knew he couldn't move forward without facing her, without seeking forgiveness for the pain he had inflicted. He owed her that much at the very least. He found her in a small cafe, the scent of coffee and cinnamon filling the air, a familiar melody drifting from the speakers. Time had treated her kindly. She was even more beautiful than he remembered. As their eyes met across the crowded room, a torrent of emotions washed over him. Regret, longing, a flicker of the love that had once burned so brightly. Their conversation was strained at first, filled with awkward silences and unspoken words. He saw the pain in her eyes, the lingering scars of his betrayal. He confessed his mistakes, his selfishness, the way he had allowed his demons to sabotage their love. He didn't ask for forgiveness, didn't expect it, but to his surprise, he found it in the depths of her gaze. As Daniel's journey continued, he realized that his past wasn't a linear narrative of right and wrong, but a complex tapestry woven from threads of both darkness and light. He had hurt people, yes, but he had also been hurt. He had made mistakes, but he had also learned from them. He reconnected with old friends, some who welcomed him with open arms, others whose gazes held a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. Each encounter was a reminder of the ripple effect of his actions, the way our lives intersect and intertwine in ways we may never fully comprehend. He listened to their stories, their perspectives on the events that had shaped their lives. He saw himself through their eyes, his flaws and imperfections laid bare. He realized that forgiveness wasn't about erasing the past, but about acknowledging its impact and striving to be better, to do better. He began to understand that his best creation wasn't a singular achievement, a finished product, but an ongoing process of growth and transformation. It was about embracing the totality of his experiences, the good, the bad, and the messy, and allowing them to shape him into the man he was meant to be. The miles unwound behind him like a thread unspooling from a tapestry. With each passing town, each conversation revisited, Daniel felt the weight of his past both lifting and settling deeper within him. It was a peculiar sensation, this simultaneous lightness and gravity. He carried the burden of his past, yes, but he also carried the wisdom gleaned from the flames, the faces he had encountered along his journey, Sarah's unwavering compassion, his former love's bittersweet forgiveness, the mixed reactions of old friends, lingered in his mind like echoes. They had shown him fragments of himself, shards of a reflection he was only now beginning to piece together. He had spent years seeking redemption, believing it to be a destination, a summit to be reached after a long and arduous climb. But what if redemption wasn't a destination, but a direction? What if it wasn't about erasing the past, but about integrating it into the fabric of his being, allowing it to inform his present and shape his future? The thought, once daunting, now held a strange allure. It was terrifying, yes, to embrace the totality of his being, flaws and all, but it was also liberating to shed the weight of pretense and stand before the world as he truly was, a work in progress, a masterpiece still in the making. As he journeyed on, the landscapes he passed seemed to mirror his internal shift. Where once he saw only harshness in the rugged mountains, he now saw resilience, a testament to the power of nature to endure. The vastness of the desert, once a symbol of emptiness, now spoke to him of infinite possibilities. He began to see his life through a similar lens. His past mistakes, once sources of shame and regret, now appeared as opportunities for growth, painful but necessary detours on the path to becoming. He realized that his best creation wasn't something he could force into being, but something that was unfolding organically, day by day, through the choices he made and the way he chose to show up in the world. He thought of Alex's art, the way he took broken, discarded objects and transformed them into something beautiful, something that told a story. Maybe that was what life was all about, taking the broken pieces of our past and forging them into something new, something stronger, something that reflected the beauty of resilience and the transformative power of hope. He realized that his story wasn't unique. It was a reflection of the universal human experience, a tapestry woven from threads of joy and sorrow, triumph and defeat. And in that realization, he found a sense of connection to something larger than himself, a sense of purpose that transcended his individual journey. The closer he got to the date of Alex's exhibition, the more a sense of peace settled over Daniel. It wasn't the peace of having all the answers, of having tied his past neatly into a bow. It was the peace of surrender, of accepting that life is a messy, unpredictable journey, and the beauty lies in embracing the unknown. He thought about the lecture he was supposed to give, the story he was meant to share. He had initially approached it as a task, something to be planned and executed with precision. But now he understood that the most powerful stories are often the ones we don't plan, the ones that flow from the depths of our being, raw and unfiltered. He wouldn't offer platitudes or easy answers. He wouldn't pretend to have it all figured out. Instead, he would speak his truth, sharing his journey with honesty and vulnerability, offering his scars as proof that healing is possible, that redemption is an ongoing process, and that our best creation is the life we build, one imperfect, beautiful day at a time. He realized that his story wasn't just about him. It was about the transformative power of connection, the way our lives intersect and influence one another in ways we may never fully comprehend. It was about the courage to be vulnerable, to embrace our imperfections, and to show up in the world as our authentic selves. And in that realization, he found a freedom he had never known before, the freedom to simply be, to exist in the messy, beautiful unfolding of his own unfinished symphony. The day of the exhibition arrived, a culmination of miles traveled, tears shed, and lessons learned. Daniel stood backstage, bathed in the muted glow of the stage lights, a hush falling over the crowd as the announcer called his name. His heart pounded a steady rhythm against his ribs, a drumbeat of anticipation and trepidation. He had spent weeks crafting the perfect speech, revising and rehearsing, trying to distill the complexities of his journey into a coherent narrative. But now, standing on the precipice of vulnerability, he realized the futility of prepared words. The stories he carried were etched into his very being, etched in the lines on his face and the tremor in his voice. He thought of Sarah's unwavering belief, the bittersweet forgiveness in his former love's eyes, the echoes of countless conversations with old friends and strangers alike. Each encounter had chipped away at the walls he had so carefully erected, revealing the raw, vulnerable heart beneath. He carried their stories within him, a tapestry woven from threads of resilience, redemption, and the unwavering belief in the power of the human spirit to overcome. Taking a deep breath, he stepped onto the stage, the spotlight momentarily blinding him. As his eyes adjusted to the light, he saw a sea of faces turned towards him, their expressions a mixture of curiosity and anticipation. He saw himself reflected in the eyes. The fear, the hope, the shared human experience that connected them all. He began to speak, not from the carefully crafted script he had prepared, but from the depths of his being. He spoke of the darkness he had known, the depths of despair that had threatened to consume him. He spoke of the long, arduous climb back to the surface, the moments of grace that had illuminated his path. He spoke of Sarah's kindness, the unwavering belief that had given him the strength to take his first tentative steps towards recovery. He spoke of the bittersweet reunion with his former love, the forgiveness that had cracked open his heart and allowed him to forgive himself. He spoke of the countless others he had encountered along his journey, the fellow travelers who had shared their stories, their struggles, their triumphs. He spoke of the profound realization that his best creation wasn't a singular achievement, a finished product, but the ongoing process of becoming, the daily choice to show up in the world with authenticity and vulnerability. As he spoke, a hush fell over the audience, broken only by the occasional sniffle, the rustle of fabric as someone reached for a tissue. He spoke not as an expert, but as a fellow traveler, sharing his journey with raw honesty, inviting them to witness the messy, beautiful unfolding of a life still in progress. And in that moment of shared vulnerability, something shifted. The barrier between the stage and the audience seemed to dissolve, replaced by a sense of connection, a shared recognition of the human experience in all its messy, imperfect glory. Daniel's story, once a source of shame and regret, had become a beacon of hope, a testament to the transformative power of vulnerability and the enduring strength of the human spirit. As Daniel finished speaking, a profound silence filled the room. It wasn't the awkward silence that follows a poorly received joke, but a silence pregnant with understanding, a shared recognition of the raw vulnerability laid bare. Then a wave of applause erupted, washing over him like a cleansing rain. He stepped back from the podium, his heart lighter than it had been in years. He hadn't offered easy answers or platitudes, but he had shared his truth, his messy, unfinished truth. And in doing so, he had somehow touched the lives of strangers, sparking a flicker of recognition in their eyes. The exhibition became a tapestry of shared experience. People lingered long after Daniel's talk, sharing their own stories, their struggles and triumphs, their voices intertwining in a chorus of resilience. A young woman, tears streaming down her face, thanked him for giving her the courage to face her own demons. An elderly man, his hand trembling as he spoke, Sharashi, shared how Daniel's story had given him hope for his troubled grandson. The ripples of Daniel's journey extended far beyond the walls of the gallery. Alex's exhibition, infused with the raw honesty of Daniel's story and the stories of countless others, became a catalyst for conversation, a testament to the transformative power of vulnerability and the enduring strength of the human spirit. People from all walks of life connected with the art, finding solace in the shared experience, a reminder that they were not alone in their struggles. Daniel's best creation wasn't a singular achievement, but the ripple effect of his choice to embrace his story, flaws, and all. It was a testament to the power of vulnerability, to forge connections, to inspire hope, and to remind us that our greatest creations are often found in the ways we touch the lives of others, one imperfect, beautiful day at a time.